the most clutch and cold-blooded killer we have ever seen. Larry Bird has had so many legendary moments in the playoffs and the finals thanks to his incredible clutch play. But what do the numbers say? How efficient was he? I went through every single finals game that went down to the wire, and the results will shock you. But first, let's clarify what the NBA defines as a clutch basket. The league only looks at the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter or overtime with a score differential of 5 points or less. This is according to how they determine the clutch player of the year, and that is the criteria that we'll be using. Without further ado, let's travel back to the 1981 finals. It's game 1 between the Celtics and the Rockets. Let's see how Larry did in the clutch in his first ever finals game. For the first play, we have a cluster of players in the corner, I'm assuming to cause some confusion. Then Cedric Maxwell sets a nice double screen which frees Larry Bird for an open corner shot. For this next play, we can appreciate his all-around excellence. He skies for the rebound over Billy Pulse and throws a perfect outlet pass to Cornbread Maxwell. Next possession, Bird tries to make something out of this broken play, but couldn't get the running jumper to go down. Now the Celtics are up by 1 with less than a minute remaining. They get 2 key offensive rebounds to keep the possession alive. Now Robert Parrish wants to ice it. And under the glass, look at how perfectly Bird boxes out one of the greatest rebounders of all time, Moses Malone. He out-rebounds him twice and gets a third putback to go down. The Celtics took a 3-point lead and were able to survive this close battle. For game 1, he went 2 for 5 in the clutch. We move on to game 2 and we have another tight game. The 41 Houston Rockets wanted to prove they belonged and they weren't making things easy. With under 5 minutes left, Larry takes a tough left-handed hook shot and misses. But in the next play, he passes the ball to Maxwell at the perfect spot and he banks it home. The Celtics now have the lead. Now we're down to a minute left. Boston is down by 1. They run a play for Larry. He gets free for a second, but couldn't get the ball to go down. On the other end, Allen Level makes a huge shot to extend their lead to 3 points. The Celtics were able to cut the lead to 2 with free throws, and they had 1 shot to tie or win the game. They ran nearly the same play for Bird. Houston decided to leave Tiny Archibald open to double, and he couldn't knock it down. The Rockets were able to steal a victory on the road. For game 2, he went 0 for 2 in the clutch. For games 3 to 5, we didn't see any clutch action, but we did see some for the title-clinching game 6. With their backs against the wall, the Rockets make some big plays down the stretch. They're desperately trying to keep their season alive, and they're able to cut the lead to 3 points. That's when they went to their closer to bring home the title. Off the inbound, he goes right to the attack and makes a nice step-back jumper. On the other end, he steps in right on time and draws the offensive foul. He's making big plays on both ends of the floor. Right after this, he comes off a pin from Parrish and scores right on Calvin's grill. They now have a 7-point lead, but the Rockets just won't die. They were able to cut it back to 3. Off the inbounds, Bird responded by making a nice lob pass to Maxwell. In their next offensive possession, they swing the ball around, find Larry in the corner, and he swishes the 3-pointer. He delivered the knockout blow and brought Boston their 14th title. For the game, he went a perfect 3 for 3. For the series, he went 5 for 10 in the clutch. We move on to the most iconic final series in NBA history, the 1984 finals between the Celtics and the Lakers. 4 of the 7 games went down to the wire, and we saw some of the craziest finishes that you'll ever see with a championship on the line. Let's start with game 1. Bird's first clutch action came with under 2.5 minutes to play. He got Magic up in the air, leaned in to draw the foul, but couldn't get the call or the ball to go in. After getting the offensive rebound, they set a screen to get him a clean look, but misfired. It was that kind of day for Larry and the Celtics. The Lakers take home court advantage and win game 1. In the clutch, Bird went 0 for 2. Their chance for payback was game 2, but the Lakers seemed to be running away with it. The Celtics needed to do something to regain momentum. As we draw closer to regulation, the Lakers were in the perfect position to steal game 2. They were up by 2 after Kevin McHale missed both of his free throws. That's when everything crumbled apart for the Lake Show. James Worthy threw the ball away and Gerald Henderson laid it up to tie it. But it wasn't over yet. The Lakers still had a chance to win, but Magic Johnson infamously dribbled the clock out. It was 2 boneheaded mistakes in a row by LA. We go to overtime. That's when Larry tries to make something happen. He was able to get a rather clean look after being double teamed, but missed a shot. Here we see Larry on the defensive end. He grabs a rebound, immediately turns, fires an outlet pass to Gerald Henderson, and gets the and one. He was having the game of his life, but the hero of overtime was Scott Wedman, who swishes the baseline jumper with 14 seconds remaining. The Celtics survived and tied the series. In the clutch, Bird missed his only field goal attempt, but went 5 of 7 from the free throw line. We transition to the greatest game of this series, and possibly of any finals game ever. That's Game 4. Before we get to the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, a whole lot of things have happened. The intensity of this game has went to the highest level possible. With that context in mind, we now get to the clutch action. Larry starts by firing a corner 3, but misses. Next play, Bird is in transition. He passes to DJ. He misses the layup, but Bird is right there for the putback. Next possession, Kevin McHale is going to miss this shot, but look at who Larry is boxing out. He out-rebounds the 7-2 Kareem and draws the foul. He doesn't seem to be happy about that one bit. The Celtics are down by 2 with under 20 seconds. Off the Cooper miss, Kareem pushes Bird to get the rebound and sends him to the free throw line. With their season hanging in the balance, he calmly makes both free throws to tie the game. The Lakers now have a chance to take the lead, and Magic makes a bad pass to Bob McAdoo. This was another crucial mistake by Johnson. The Celtics have one more chance to steal a victory. They give it to Bird, and his one-legged three-pointer just misses the mark. We go to overtime. In the extra period, Larry misses a tough shot over Michael Cooper, but Dennis Johnson makes a great effort to tip it in. With under 2 minutes left, the Lakers were able to regain momentum and the lead. This next play is huge. You see Larry working to get deep position on Coop. He gets under the basket and goes right through him for the shot. The game is now tied, but Boston makes the mistake of sending Magic Johnson to the free throw line. For the 1984 season, he shot 81% from the charity stripe, but he misses both. Even he doesn't know what's going on with himself. On the other end, it was time for his rival to show him how a star truly performs in the clutch.
Dennis Johnson with Cooper all over him. He can't do a thing. Bird turnaround, hits with 16 seconds to go, and the Lakers call their last, although...
The Lakers continue to miss free throws, and the Celtics survive another close one. For the game, he went 3 of 6 in the clutch. And finally, we have Game 7. The Lakers are trying to play catch-up nearly all game long. They had one last run in them and were able to cut the lead to 3 points. Larry tried to stop the bleeding with his fadeaway, but was short. But they made some big defensive plays down the stretch to stop this high-power offense. They ended up winning this game and the championship. For the series, Bird went 3 of 10 in the clutch and 9 of 11 from the free throw line. We fast forward to the 1985 finals between the same two teams. For this series, only one game went down to the wire. That was Game 4. And this was another classic. Let's start with the first clutch play. Larry curls off a McHale screen and knocks down the elbow jumper. This gave Boston the lead. A few possessions later, he shoots from nearly the same spot, but couldn't knock it down. We're down to a minute left. The game is tied. The Celtics swing the ball around, find Danny Ainge with the shot clock winding down, and he buries a jump shot. On the other end, Magic Johnson grabs the offensive rebound and ties the game with the putback. Each team was making big plays, but nothing was bigger than what happened next.
Bird, double. Dennis Johnson, 2 seconds. It's good. The game is over.
It was a buzzer beater by DJ. It remains one of the most underrated moments in league history. For this game and the series, Bird went 1 for 2 in the clutch. Believe it or not, there are more games that went down to the wire between the Celtics and Rockets in the 1986 finals. Let's start with Game 3. Boston is up by 5 with under 5 minutes remaining, so they turn to their closer. He sets a pick for DJ, and they both move together to the right side of the court. We see this causes a bit of confusion for the Rockets. Who gets the assignment of guarding Dennis? This is where McHale will set a screen on Bird's defender. Larry then darts to the elbow and knocks down the jumper. A beautiful design play executed perfectly by Boston. But Houston storms all the way back to cut the lead to 1. So they give the ball to Bird. He drives to the middle of the lane but misses the little floater. After the Rockets take the lead, the Celtics look to run their offense. Mikal passes to Bird, he makes a great fake, passes to Danny Ainge in midair, and he makes a shot to regain the lead. On the other end, Mitchell Wiggins made a great play at the basket. He tips in the shot on Hakeem's miss. With 5 seconds remaining, Boston had one last chance to try to force overtime. They tried to get it to Bird, but they did a great job of denying him the ball. They forced a turnover and completed the comeback. For Game 3, Larry went 1 for 2 in the clutch. As we transition to Game 4, Houston is proving that they're a worthy opponent for this juggernaut of a team. The game is close once again. The score is tied with under 3 minutes to go. Bill Walton is on the post, and for some reason, they leave Larry Bird open for the 3. Under a minute remaining, they're still up by 3, and Bird wants to ice the game with this 3-pointer, but he misses. On the other end, the Rockets has one last chance to force overtime, and they blew it. The Celtics survive and take a 3-1 series lead. For Game 4, Bird went 1 for 2 in the clutch. These were the only 2 games that went down to the wire. For the 1986 finals, he went 2 for 4 in the clutch. This leads us to the 1987 finals, the last time he would play in basketball's biggest stage. Games 1 and 2 were blowouts, so we start with Game 3. The Celtics were in control during the fourth quarter, but the Lakers made a run and were down by 5 points with under a minute left. For this play, they gave the ball to Bird on the post, and he shoots a fadeaway over 3 defenders. He misses, but his teammates were there to keep the possession alive. They iced it out on the free throw line and won this crucial game. For Game 3, he went 0 for 1 in the clutch and went 2 for 2 from the free throw line. We move on to the final game that went down to the wire, and that's Game 4. For some reason, Game 4 was always the best game when these 2 teams played. Let's get into clutch time. Bird starts by grabbing the rebound, and he throws a great outlet pass to Dennis Johnson, who converts this tough layup. The Celtics seemed to be in control, but the Lakers made a furious comeback with under 2 minutes remaining. They were able to cut the lead to 1 point. With under a minute remaining, Larry takes a tough shot over Kareem and misses. On the other end, Magic throws a perfect lob pass to the captain, who slams it down. The Lakers now have the lead. On the sideline, you know what Pat Riley is telling his team. Let anyone but Larry Bird score. James Worthy is even grabbing his jersey to prevent him from touching the ball. So the Celtics run their play. Robert passes out the double. Now DJ has the ball. You also don't want him shooting. Remember what he did in 1985 against them. He draws 2 defenders. He kicks it out to Danny Ainge. He waits for the triple team to converge, and there's Bird open for the 3-pointer. He knocks it down, and the Celtics regain the lead. The Boston Garden was rocking after he made that shot, but the Lakers look to respond. They give it to all-reliable Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he draws the foul. After making the first one, the second free throw attempt misses and it's a loose ball. The refs give the possession back to the Lakers. It was certainly a controversial call. After the timeout, Magic Johnson made his most iconic shot of his career. It was a junior sky hook that gave LA the lead with 2 seconds remaining. But they knew who was on the other side. There was plenty of time for Larry Legend. What he did to get a clean look was simply genius. He goes towards the inbounder and somehow loses his defender. Then he darts straight to the corner, grabs the ball in stride, fires, and just misses. No one couldn't believe that the ball didn't go in. For Game 4, Larry goes 1 for 3 in the clutch. For the series, he went 1 for 4 and 2 for 2 from the free throw line. Now let's look at the final results. In total, he went 12 of 30 in the clutch, which is 40%. He also went 13 of 15 from the free throw, which is 87%. Those are not bad numbers at all, especially when you consider the stakes, the intensity the teams play in the finals, especially that 1984 series, and that is the one that dropped his percentage down. Let's not forget that context. One thing that I didn't see him do was make a mistake, certainly not like his rivals did. With the ball in his hands, you knew he was gonna make the right play. When it comes to making a dagger 3, no one was better than him. And in the 1984 finals, he did provide the game-winning shot. The Celtics don't win the title if it wasn't for that clutch play. After watching all of this, there's no question in my mind that he was clutch in the biggest stage. What about you all? Do you think he's the greatest clutch player? What do you think was his most underrated moment in the finals? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.